Stepping fully into Cancer season now and really focusing on the themes of the home, the family, looking at our ancestral patterns. We are dropped right down into the root center through gate number 52. This is going to teach us about the energy of stress, how our breathing indicates when we are stressed, looking at the gift of restraint, and bringing us into the fullest light aspect, which is all about stillness. Looking at it through the lens of the I Ching, here we see the art of keeping still. Your inner stillness and quietness allow you to gain perspective over all life's circumstances. And the mountain has always been looked at for its strengths. A lot of people connect to wanting to go out into the mountains to breathe the fresh air and to really allow themselves to slow down, to experience a lot more clarity. So whenever we're facing problems in life or we find ourselves stuck, allowing ourselves to be still enough to get to the top of the mountain, which means to overcome, reach higher than the problem and get into the solution, then allows for many possibilities to come through. So it's all about learning to hold tight in the element of stress and in the element of pressures that are going to come from the root center. When we take a look at the human design chart, we're going to find that root center right at the very bottom. And 68% of you will be defined, meaning you have this colored in on your chart. 32% of you will have it undefined, meaning it is white in your chart. When you have it colored in, defined, that means you have consistent energy in the form of stress that is really there to create pressure to help you evolve. When it is white on your chart, it is undefined, you are feeling the stress of others. So you have inconsistent energy down in that center. And getting to know your personal human design chart really does help you as we go through this journey of inner alchemy, because you'll become more aware of how you handle the energies that are being activated out in the collective and recognize where you have a tendency to become conditioned or greatly influenced by another's energies, and what is really your steady foundation that is yours to recognize and fine-tune and grow and really truly develop. So at this time in the collective energy, we are being activated through gate number 52. And you may already have this gate circled in your human design chart, meaning that it is part of your consistent theme. Regardless, all of us at this time is really experiencing this added pressure that is designed to help us stay immobile, not to take action until ready to proceed. And the way that this might be showing up for a lot of us is if you have a tendency to rush out and want to start something, you may be finding that you just can't get things together to start, that you're hitting a roadblock or things just aren't lining up, they're not going the right way. And instead of getting frustrated and pushing against that, it is really a reminder that this is a time of stillness, still concentration that is coming from a really deep core strength that is going to help us to remain standing our ground in the chaos of life and not budge or move forward until that clarity of direction has been received. So we will learn these lessons time and time again until we learn to pause mindfully instead of jumping in and being very reactive. I just had an image of being a matchstick. And when you take a match out of the box, the match by itself is essentially harmless, but yet it has great potential that is just waiting to be unleashed. As soon as we strike that match, we ignite it. We have a small window of opportunity then before it burns out. So if we're not mindful in lighting the match, lighting our fires, lighting our passion, to then put it towards what has been prepared, what is ready to be ignited, we're going to lose that flame. We're going to lose that momentum. So it's about making sure that you have everything in place before proceeding, making sure you've taken the time to really build that strong foundation. So the energy is here to help us maintain a higher perspective. And when we come out of our emotions, we come out of our tendencies to react from a fear, and we allow ourselves to rise up into the stillness of asking for guidance, asking for our guides to come in and help us, then we can see the bigger picture. You can see and align to the true direction that you are headed towards. It's also that reminder that no matter what you are going through, those storms of life will pass. You may be feeling blocked in this moment, but that blockage will eventually clear. What matters while it's there is you allowing time to regenerate your energy. You may be also experiencing that you have a lot of momentum right now, that things are really flowing beautifully. You are clear on your direction, you're clear on the vision, and you are proceeding forward with doing the action steps that are in alignment to that. When we really take that time to receive the clarity before heading in a certain direction or saying yes to a decision, and knowing that it is in alignment with our true self, then you're not going to be wasting energy and resources doing things that are out of alignment to your truth. And a lot of times, whenever we come from a fear-based mentality, we're afraid we're going to miss out, we are worried and trying to compare ourselves to other people, we tend to jump the gun and have a premature start instead of holding back in the patience, allowing ourselves to stay focused, keeping your eye on the prize, and knowing and trusting that you are going to know when the timing is right to move forward and launch your own ideas and initiatives and really do those things that are there to enhance your highest good. This is also part of what is known as the channel of concentration. So we see here a relationship drawing energy from the center above it through what is known as the sacral center in human design. And it is coming out of number 9, which is known as the gate number 9. So we have a root sacral connection, which means there's a lot of pressure here to be human, which simply means there's a pressure to evolve, and it's pulling life force energy towards it. So if you are a generator or a manifesting generator, you have a colored in sacral center. If you have this channel within your design, this is one of 3 format channels, which means it overrides your entire design. This is crucial to your energy flow. And what is happening in here is gate number 9 in that sacral center. It's known as the gate of details. So it really has the energy to notice the fine details and to apply that energy towards establishing a proper pattern. Or if it acts prematurely, it doesn't have the pattern in its mind. So it becomes very scattered and very chaotic. When we are harnessing that channel of concentration, meaning the energy is flowing naturally through that channel, it is applied towards really staying focused on your commitments. So it's the ability then under that lens of details to pinpoint what the target is, what the goal is, what the vision is, and then align all the necessary steps in order to achieve that. So you may find that it becomes really annoying When somebody interrupts you when you're in that concentration, you're in your focus commitment, you might become extremely frustrated if somebody wants you to act before you're ready to act. If you don't have the plans all laid out or the resources in place or you haven't seen and built the big picture, it is really disruptive to your energy to have someone come in and put the pressure on that it's go time. So respecting your energy type, expecting your flow, the way that you move through this energetic channel, knowing that you are somebody who has the attention to details, that you do need time to go through and really feel that things are in place for you before proceeding, then it becomes an opportunity to carve out time in your day, in your week, in your schedule to make sure that you're honoring your natural process. This might mean having conversations with supervisors or family members or individuals that are part of the equation in the relationship of you needing to work with others, but also honoring themselves. And that becomes one of our greatest teachers is that we can't always have things to line up to serve our individual needs. But if we're operating from a place of our authenticity, and we know that this is a great part of our energetic flow, of our manifestation, of our ability to really contribute in a way that is meaningful, then it becomes a beautiful honoring of self to ensure that you do create those pockets of time and those spaces to allow you for that concentration period. You are likely somebody who is an excellent planner. When you have this channel or when you get to experience the properties of this channel through its activations along the astrological wheel, the mandala wheel, you're going to really notice that you just have this ability to plan and to really set your sights ahead on what that picture is to build the steps necessary to achieve it. It is so crucial. And this is where we really step into the energy of the generator or the manifesting generator. You are here to respond to life. That is how your energy works. So it's allowing yourself to feel that gut response, that inner knowing that says, yes, this is right for me. Yes, I am ready to move forward. Yes, I feel that this is in place. Yes, I have the necessary resources. Yes, this is in alignment to the bigger picture. When you have that affirmative yes, that is your energy talking to you, letting you know that just like the rocket ship, you're ready to take all of that energy, that accumulation of stress that you have been building, you have not budged from it, and now it can be launched to help you move forward with what it is you're here to do. When we act prematurely, we don't wait for that yes response, you override the wisdom of the body, you're not going to have enough of that fuel, that momentum to sustain. So what happens is the project tries to get off the ground, the idea tries to get off the ground, and very fast, it falls flat. It is easy to get frustrated. You find a missing piece, it's missing a resource, it's missing some assistance. So you know for yourself when you are in alignment to your body's wisdom, when the timing is right for you. And this really brings us into the teachings of the Buddha, that stillness, that ability to really relax into one state of being, to not be pushed and pressured by life, but to trust in one's inner timing and inner rhythm. We're going to move now into the teachings of the gene keys, which really is the key that then unlocks the gateway. It unlocks those numbers that are within your human design chart. And in this case, gate number 52, the mountain. So we are using the book of the Gene Keys by Richard Rudd. It is a wonderful resource for contemplation. We've taken some extracts from that as points to share and to really do some consideration for ourselves as we move through the shadow of stress, the dilemma of shallow breathing, the gift of restraint, and the sooty of stillness. And we're going to start right off by looking at that shadow of stress and the dilemma of shallow breathing. And, our breath is really our very first indicator as to how the health and well-being of your body is doing. And when you take little breaks throughout the day just to kind of acknowledge, how is my breathing rhythm? Are you breathing and you're just in the upper part? Are you breathing down into the fullness of your belly? Are you breathing all the way out your feet? Are you allowing yourself to feel connected to the earth? And for a lot of us, it is really difficult to feel connected to the earth. A lot of us are sensitives, we're empaths, we tend to live up in those higher energies because it feels good. But we came here to integrate those higher energies into human form, to not discount your human body, your vessel, because it is an equal partnership to this energetic relationship between your human self and your soul self. It is one unit that is here to be a vessel for creation to be expressed through. So you really want to notice your breathing rhythms. You want to try to anchor and ground yourself through the root connection to Mother Earth as much as possible. And the more you breathe that energy down into, the more you're reminding yourself that you are safe, you are secure, you are supported in walking your human journey. And when we really connect with the earth, and we saw this in last week's teachings, and we allow our body to regulate to the heartbeat of Mother Earth, we slow down and we match her rhythm, her cycles, her vibration, then we are not being overwhelmed by the human shadow energy, which is our collective fears that is part of our human journey. We have that free will choice. So we're either going to live in that duality and experience life through fear, or we're going to experience life through a greater faith. Your breathing, your connection to that breath is kind of like your gauge that either takes you into the fear-based response, the shadow response, or brings you over to that heightened sense of being, and it really opens up your auric field to connect to the support of life around you. So it's important to acknowledge that stress is a collective pressure. It's an energy field that is generated by every single human that is alive on Earth. It is really deeply connected to our environment and those that are around us. So when you're feeling stressed, it's really important to do a awareness check to see, well, what's happening within your environment? What's happening in the lives of the people around you? What's happening in your neighborhood? For those of us that are very sensitive, what's happening in the moon cycle? What's happening in the planetary level? It's the reminder that the macro affects the micro. The larger affects the singular, which is yourself. So your environment greatly affects how you feel and behave. And most importantly, it influences who you think you are. And this is where we get stuck in our conditioning. And I love this image of the mother with the little girl because, it really represents our inner child. As a child, you learn to cope within your environment. You were naturally picking up on the stresses of others. You were creating a way of coping with that. You very likely created a dialogue in attempt to explain what it was that you were feeling. And you might have felt very confused when other people told you they were fine, but yet you could sense that they were everything but fine. And that is why we're learning about the power of honest communication. So we're here to overcome our conditioned patterns and behaviors that inner child is still holding on to by learning to rise ourselves out of that pattern, to examine the validity of those fears, and to do the healing work to set it free. So when you're in the shadow energy of feeling too much stress, you're really stuck in your lower chakra body. So you're stuck in the physical body, being the human. We are a soul having a human experience, but we can get stuck in the heaviness of being human. You're going to have the physical experiences of stress, the aches, the pains, the breath, the heart rate. You might be stuck in the emotional energies or in the mental energies where we can't get out of the head. When you're stuck in the problem, you can't get to that solution. So, stress and accumulation of stress is really a result of lowering your vibrational field. And that is really often a result of being stuck up in the mind, being a prisoner to your own mental anxiety. And whenever we have a lot of worry, we have a lot of tendency to try to play things over in our mind, create all kinds of different scenarios. We are exhausting life force energy by putting energy towards something that either hasn't happened yet or it's beyond your control to change, but it is literally depleting you of all of your life force energy. When we're in that shadow state, we're allowing the mind to be the authority. We're allowing the mind to make decisions. And a lot of times we make very quick, very impulsive decisions because we want to get rid of the stress. We don't like not knowing, so we try to do something to have an answer. We don't like feeling uncertain about something, so we make a premature decision just to have a target to reach for. So we're learning that it takes a lot of faith to not know what the whole big picture is, but to feel an alignment to a direction to walk in a certain way. It is the architect that knows that before the house can be built, it has to have a plan. And beyond the plan, it needs to survey the land. It needs to survey the environment. It needs to do checks within the soil. It needs to make sure that it's going to be the right placement for the structure. And it's going to take a lot of time to go back and to tweak and to change things as you build on that structure. So that is the same as the foundation for us. We really have to lean into the body to know when it needs to pivot and turn and adjust. And the greatest way to do that, again, is checking in with your breathing, checking in with your rhythm, knowing when it is time to stand still, to be that mountain, to bring up your life force energy, to gather all your resources, to align yourself to that clear vision and not feel that you have to hurry ahead. When we're under a lot of stress, it's triggering that fight or flight response. This is where we see within the house of Cancer, the fourth house, we're working on some ancestral patterns. Well, our splenic center in human design really houses for us those fears related to survival. Those are ancestral in nature. So there's another clue to using your human design chart to go and look at your active gates within the splenic center to see what your natural fears are. It's also an inability to keep yourself reacting from fear. So whenever we allow stress to overwhelm us and we make a decision based on stress, we're feeling that fight or flight response, our breathing is shallow, the heart rate is fast, we're feeling like we're just stuck into that body. That is our indicators that we are unable to move from fear. So you're purely in the reactive state of it. We want to breathe back into the body to move yourself into a state that is very responsive. There's always two sides to any one of the shadows. And in this case, we have the repressive side that is known as stuck. We have the reactive side that is known as restless. When you are feeling stuck, you're in that repressive state. This is where the physical, the emotional, or the mental bodies literally collapses. It's not able to rise out of those lower chakras. So you could be just physically hurting, physically immobile, physically there's some kind of disease that you're dealing with within your body. Emotionally, you could just be drowning in those emotions and needing assistance to really help you to get out of there, or just trapped into that monkey mind and not being able to find any sort of solution to the problem. So it's an inability to rise from that. And that's where we really can go into those states of depression. And it is so important to reach out to help, to remember that you have that free will choice. So we reach out to ask our guides in spirit. We reach out for the resources that are available to us on Earth itself. We allow all sorts of giving and receiving balances to come into that flow. It's an inability to move past one's experiences. So sometimes things happen in our life, whether it's a trauma, it's a grief, it is something that has really influenced, hurt your heart. There can be an inability to move past that if it is not handled with the most love and respect and the honoring of the time and the emotions and the feelings that are all involved within that experience. We've been taught to shove down our emotions. Don't talk about that. That's a secret. Keep that hidden. You don't want to appear weak. And every time we dishonor ourselves that way, we shove that spirit back down within us. That creates an inability to move past it. And eventually those things do surface. They surface for us because they're here to be healed. That inner child inside of you wants to be set free. It wants to grow and evolve. It doesn't want to keep being shoved back down when it just wants to get out and play. It is really here in the purest expression of yourself to be free. So when we are in that repressed state, we're not allowing it to be free. We're literally keeping it stuck within ourselves. And that is where it manifests within our life force energy as depletion. You can become very lethargic and just not have the energy to move forward. So one of the ways to get out of that is finding a way to be of service to others. So when you start to shift your attention towards, well, how can I be of service? How can I contribute my time and my energy to do something of value that will help humanity? We have a desire deep within us to be of service, and we have a need to be needed and a want to be wanted. So when we come out of our own problems, we start focusing on helping someone else in a way that feels right to us and in a way that's appreciated by others. That can then lift you out of your own state of feeling stuck. It shifts your attention, it shifts your frequency, it regenerates your life force energy. Because what is happening is when you are of assistance to somebody else, you're feeling their appreciation, you're feeling their gratitude, you're feeling their love, which means it is boosting your light, it's boosting your vibration. So we were never meant to stay by ourselves. That is one of the core wounds known as separation. We are part of the greaterness of humanity. So it is when we are working together, we are working for the common good, we are working for the betterment of humanity, that it lifts our vibration as well. When we're on the reactive side to this, you're going to feel very restless. And again, I love this picture. I know I've experienced that state for myself where you just have all this energy in your body. You're feeling stressed out and you almost become like the mad person in the house, just hurrying around, trying to get everything done because the company is coming or whatever it is that's happening. And you're just so overwhelmed in the chaos of that, that if somebody interrupts you, they're probably going to feel your anger and your frustration. So it's a way that the fear is moving through the body, and it comes through with an inability to sit still by having you do some kind of activity. It is literally an overstimulation of the adrenal glands, which means your body's producing more energy than it actually needs. And that causes a lot of damage to your body over time. And eventually, when you're running with the candle burnt on both ends like that, you're running on more adrenaline than your body needs, you're going to burn out. And this is where we also see there's that tendency to take out anger on other people. It's really very tired and depleted, yet it's busy running around doing all these things. So it is right, just like that matchstick, just waiting to be ignited. And it doesn't take a lot to trigger that. In order to come out of that reactive state, it really needs to face the fear that is driving you towards taking that action. And until we allow ourselves to kind of catch, oh my gosh, I'm running all over the place again, just like a chicken with my head cut off. Unless you catch that and you sit yourself down and you ask yourself, what is it that is your fear? What is it that's driving this behavior? You won't be able to release that. It takes having that honest conversation. So when we really look at both sides of the shadow of stress, and stress plays out in all of us, knowing for yourself if you tend to be either more repressive or more reactive, that is then another indicator to help you become aware of the patterns of behavior. We want to work on bringing the unconscious shadow states more to your conscious awareness, not so that you can beat yourself up, but so that you can then choose to call in the gift in order to move out of being in that repetitive pattern. So the secret in moving forward from the shadow to the gift is changing your inner environment, your feelings and your thoughts, as this changes what you see and what you hear. If all you are hearing is noise and all you see is chaos, that determines your experience. And this is the teachings of the Buddha. You can't change what is happening in the world around you. You can't change what is going on in somebody else, but you can change what is going on within you. And one of the easiest ways to shift that, to start harnessing towards the gift aspect, is to breathe more deeper into you, to literally take in more life force energy, more air that can open you up, that can rise you out, that can attune you to the greater vibrations, that can get you out of the emotions. It can get you out of that trigger of fear, and it can open you as that vessel to receive. So learning to really connect with your breath, to regulate your breathing, to slow down your heartbeat, to clear your mind, to anchor your feet to the earth. Using that breath to see roots coming out of your feet and deep into the earth itself. Feeling grounded and supported. being the mountain, reminding yourself of the mountain's capability to witness all sorts of things that have gone on in the world, but yet it stands serene. It stands still. It has weathered time. It is great wisdom. It is no wonder the mountains are sacred spaces. Well, we too have sacred spaces. And when you treat your human as sacred and divine, you're not going to stay in those lower vibrating energies. You're going to rise up and out by remembering your larger presence within that. So we have a couple of ways to help us move into what is known as the gift of restraint. And in each one of the gates, the gene keys, those numbers on your chart, there are 6 lines. You have little desmos after the numbers within your chart. And when you're looking at the one here for the gate of the mountain, if you have that in your chart, you have a line item right after it, a number 1 to 6, which means it becomes a theme for you. But these are also themes out in the collective. So if we want to really practice the gift of restraint, we can keep it really simple. And we can notice for ourselves, well, where do you need the most restraint? Are you not feeling grounded and rooted to the earth? And if that is the case, pause before taking action. Draw your breath down into that area. If you're feeling a lot of fears, breathe into your sacral center. Here we can release the fears and concerns around staying inactive. If it's really hard for you to not jump in and not contribute and not do something to relieve the stress, breathing into that sacral center helps to release those fears. Breathing into the solar plex helps you to stay composed. This is where we build some core strength within ourselves, not taking on any unnecessary pressures. It's that saying, it's not my circus, not my monkey. So you build the core strength of you. You don't get involved. You don't react to somebody else's drama. You don't react to things that you know they're just moments that will pass by. You wait and stay composed. When you're feeling in the heart, breathe into that to avoid that urge to do something just because you feel restless. And a lot of times that comes up with conditioned behavior of, but that's my responsibility. I should help. I feel sorry for them. I don't want them to do it all by themselves. It comes from what we believe to be love, but it's conditioned love. It is a conditioned belief that I have to do something in order for somebody to like me, somebody to love me, somebody to acknowledge me, somebody to know I'm worthy. So we want to breathe into those spaces to not just jump in to do something because there's a feeling of restlessness in there. You want to sit in the clarity of asking that higher self, waiting for the gut response, waiting for the clarity of the higher self to know whether you're called into action or not. When we breathe into the throat center, now we're being mindful of our words and our actions, especially if we are in a position of wanting to provide guidance for somebody else. Taking the time to breathe into you and asking yourself, why do I feel like saying that? Why do I feel like sharing that? And most importantly, are you taking your own advice? A lot of times we can be really good at giving other people advice, but what we're receiving is actually for ourselves. Or we want somebody to do something because it'll make us feel comfortable. But is that really in their highest good? Do we truly know what it's like to walk in their shoes, to live in their head, to experience their emotions? Are we really in a place to provide guidance? Or are we coming from a place of wanting to satisfy our fears, our stories, our mental perceptions? So it's really important to be mindful of our words, of our actions, and really noticing the children are always watching. We're all here to be a leader to someone. So we're all a leader, we're all a follower. We all have that tendency to either repeat behaviors that we would rather avoid or to move forward into a higher vibrating energy. We can breathe all the way into that third eye to focus on your own inner development, to help yourself break the pattern, to not be so triggered, to allow yourself more focus, more concentration, to stay committed, to move towards accomplishing your goals. Breathing into that third eye really then calls in the ability to wait to receive clarity before taking action. So there's many ways that you can pull in that gift of restraint and use the chakra body to help yourself open up to receive more support from the universal energies, the higher vibrating energies that are around you, to then not fall victim to those lower shadow tendencies. The gift of restraint requires us to not interfere with the greater plan, which requires acceptance that there will be times you will feel deeply restrained. You may feel ready, willing, and eager, but the universe may require you to first learn, to heal, and to gather strength for the journey ahead, which is your destined path. And a lot of times, we want to jump in, we want to help somebody, we want to share, we want to teach, we're ready to move forward, we're looking for some kind of excitement. So we're ready, we're very eager in that energy. But if the greater universe hasn't called us forward to be of service in that capacity yet, then we're just going to be running around like that chicken with its head cut off, and we're going to meet the resistance. It's going to be rejected. We're going to feel that frustrations. It's going to spiral you down into those lower energies instead of just trusting, I have all of this potential. Now I'm going to wait and I'm going to work on preparing my energy, fine tuning the details, healing whatever is still surfacing through me, and being open and receptive to when the universe says, I require you. So we're not always required. We can't always be on. There is a balance of the giving and receiving, which is one of the laws of the universe. We're just conditioned to believe that we have to be in a state of being needed at all times. And we are needed by your human, you're needed by your soul to be present with you. It's our ego that wants us to be needed by someone else. So it's our reminder that all creation starts as a seed. If you have an idea, you have a project, you're working on a relationship, you're in a career, it's knowing that when you build something from fear or you make that decision from fear, fears get infested at every level of its growth. So you're literally building on a weak foundation. All weak foundations, they will crack. They will become compromised. The supporting beam becomes compromised. It then has a weakness, a fault. It cannot sustain the growth. So it's so important to know that you are building, you are launching, you are creating from a place of having a very clear intention. And to have a clear intention, it must serve more than just yourself. So it's knowing, you don't stand alone from the rest of the world. You are part of Mother Earth. You are part of the greater universe. Every seed out in Mother Nature is part of an ecosystem. There's part of a healthy balance in there. So it's the same for us as humanity. So asking, how can I be of the greatest service to humanity? And then allowing yourself to be receptive to hear that answer, not creating the answer, not jumping into action, but asking, how can you be of service to humanity? And then going about your regular day, breathing into yourself, practicing on your breath, not feeling like you got to jump in and do anything until you receive that guidance. And that really requires the mastering the art of sifting through distractions. That is the key to this. When you are sitting in the silence, it's very easy to get distracted. When you have a goal, you have a plan, you have a vision, and you've mapped it out and made it clear, watch and see how many distractions try to come in to take you away from what it is that you want to accomplish. And why are they there? They're there to check the strength of your foundation. If you are giving in to your distractions, you are not committed to your goals. So it is really knowing that you can apply the gift of restraint, the consecrated effort towards doing what it is that you know will serve the greatest good to humanity. The more selfless your intention is, the more power is going to be behind it. And the greater the power behind your intention to serve humanity, the more time is going to be needed to germinate that seed. So that seed contains all the ingredients and all the properties that are needed for the journey ahead. At the ultimate end of this, the highest light aspect in this gate is the Sudi of stillness. And in stillness, you find yourself within the heart of all creation. I've heard my own spiritual teacher and a few others talk about that Sudi of stillness is literally being in the black hole, being in the void. And it's a beautiful place where all thought is said to fully stop. It doesn't exist anymore. It's the potential for all creation just before it happens into that form. So there's so many tools in here that we can use to help ourselves move through managing our own stresses, noticing the environments around us, noticing what tends to bring stress into your life, knowing we're not going to get rid of the stress. You're not here to get rid of the shadow. You're here to learn how to use stress as a catalyst for your own inner change, meaning it's opportunities to breathe deeper into you, to work on ways of bringing more health and balance and well-being into your body, into your mind, and really allowing yourself to practice being the mountain, calling in that gift of restraint, noticing if you tend to react very quickly with your decisions, and seeing if you can create more space and time before saying yes, before committing to something, or before rejecting something and automatically say no. Don't make your decisions from the mind come into the body, and really fine tune getting to know your yeses, your nos, your maybes beyond words. These are expressions of energy in the way that your body communicates to you. The only way you're going to cultivate that, hear that, is by building a relationship with yourself, which means spending time with getting to know who you are. And the more you become aware of who you are, become aware of your birth chart, you become aware of your energy, then you're going to notice who you're not when you're affected by the energies of others, you're affected by the energies of the moon cycles, the planetary cycles, all of these beautiful ways that are here to stimulate our greater evolution. And that's the important thing to remember about stress. Stress in itself is not bad. The right amount of stress is the pressure that is needed for humans to evolve, to make the necessary change to move forward. So you want to create a healthy balance within yourself. Notice your breath. Start breathing deeply into your body and imagine yourself being the mountain during this time, and take that skill with you into your days to follow to help you have a visual of support that is around you so that you are able to stand more firmly in the belief of self to make the decisions that are right for you. I look forward to continuing our journey through Cancer season together, and I will see you in the next gate activation. Take care. Bye bye.